Welcome back to the channel. Today we will travel through the pages of What If Issei Awaken the Boosted Gear Early Part 11. The link to the story will be in the description below, and if you want an update of the current series, join the Discord. Now let's start. Chapter 42, A Mask to Cover Up the Sadness. Let's go on a date. Rias POV. It has been 3 days since we left heaven after the crime force dragon Grendel failed to force Issei into his juggernaut drive form. Using the image of his parents to pull off such a twisted and diabolical scheme. Just thinking about what that bastard did to my Issei is enough to make my destructive power rise to the surface. But that's in the past. At the moment, I'm worried about my Issei more than ever. Since that day, Issei hasn't spoken a word about what happened back then, and he just smiles whenever I bring up the subject, saying that I don't have to worry and he is just fine. But I see through that smile. Issei is hurting. He is hurting so much that he doesn't know how to act around everyone. I fear that he may eventually shut me out and go down his own path once again. No. I can't afford to get depressed like this. Issei is unable to open up. But that doesn't mean I can act powerless. I have to do my best to show Issei I am there for him. I returned home from the supermarket and set the bags down in the kitchen, where I was greeted by Asia, who kindly offered to put them away and see to it that they were placed in the appropriate location. I thanked Asia and made my way up the staircase. I couldn't help but walk past Issei's bedroom door as I proceeded on my way to my study at the Haidu household. And it took every bit of my willpower I had to prevent myself from knocking on his door and pulling him into my arms so I can comfort him and help him through these hard times. But I managed to do it. As I was just about to walk away from Issei's room, I heard a sudden sound which made me spin around to attention. "Hey Rias, have you got a second?" Issei said, causing me to be caught off guard. Seeing his face after thinking such saddening things made my mood take a spiral turn for the better. "What's wrong, Issei?" I simply asked and awaited for him to answer. "I was wondering, would you like to go out on a date with me today? I feel so cooped up inside and I would appreciate it if you came with me," Issei said to me with his usual smile. I was stunned and puzzled. What should I say in a situation like this? I don't want to selfishly enjoy myself when Issei is so sad. But I know that I can't possibly waste this opportunity to comfort him. So I said what I wanted to say the most. "Of course. I'd love to go out with you, Issei. But are you sure you don't want the rest of the group to come with us?" I can't believe I said that. I'm such an idiot. "No, that's okay, Rias. I was kind of hoping that we could go. Just the two of us," Issei said to me with the cutest blush on his face. I was happy beyond words. Issei was personally inviting me out. No Akeno or Asia. Just me. I couldn't help but feel so delighted that I was chosen to accompany Issei out. "I'll go get ready then. I look forward to it," I said after I kissed my cute and handsome pawn on the cheek. "Don't take too long, okay? I've wanted to go on a date with you for quite some time now," Issei said to me, making my heart skip a beat. "I won't be too long, I promise," I happily replied as I raced into the room Issei just exited to choose my outfit for our date. I couldn't have got to my closet any quicker even if I was being chased by the whole old Satan army. My feet practically glided along the floor despite it being carpeted. After all, this is my first proper date. And to make things more incredible, it was with Issei. It was at that moment I wondered to myself if Issei had ever been on a date before. I notice how he is very popular amongst his peers at school. And with further confirmation from Sona, it has been that way since he entered Kuo Academy. I shook off the thought as this didn't matter to me. Because I am Issei's girlfriend. And even if many may lay their eyes on him, his eyes will only gaze at me. I began to scream like a normal teenage girl as the face of the man I love stared back at me from my closet door. I realized that there was no time to lose and began preparations for my outfit. After several rejections, I settled with a red striped sleeveless top and white trousers. I found myself wearing red a lot more since I met Issei. The Red Dragon Emperor. Even before I became his girlfriend, I unconsciously found myself wearing this color, as if my heart was trying to tell me all along that Issei was the only man for me. With my preparations complete, I grabbed my purse and rushed down the stairs to reunite with Issei, who was standing by the doorway waiting for me. I took a moment to stare at the dashing good looks of my most precious evil piece as he leaned against the wall. Issei was wearing his favorite black leather jacket on top of his lucky red vest, which I admit I have stolen from him from time to time when he has gone out to make contracts. I get so lonely without him there. "So shall we go then?" Issei said to me with a huge smile and with his hand extended out towards me. I grabbed his hand instantly and felt his strong hand grip it once I welcomed his touch. And thus, my date with Issei begun. I happily held onto Issei's hand as we walked the streets of our quiet and mostly peaceful town. I carefully watched bystanders who began to lovingly gaze at my Issei, and this caused me to latch onto his arm to establish my position as his girl. For most of the girls, this did the trick and they resumed their activities. But there were some who dared to still stare at my Issei despite my actions. I just realized after we passed them that I was being a bother to Issei because I grabbed him so suddenly, this would surely make it more awkward for him to walk. But Issei just smiled as we proceeded onwards. His facial expression made my heart race when I saw the blush stained on his cheeks. Is he nervous? Don't tell me. I'm actually Issei's first date after all. Rias, so where do you want to go? I'm sorry, this is my first date so I don't have any experience. Issei said to me, making my mood brighten magnificently. Anywhere is fine with me as long as I'm with you. I said with such happiness as I blindly followed the path we took together. Then let's go have fun. Issei said to me as he lifted me onto his shoulders. I was surprised by Issei's sudden actions at first, but it wasn't long until I found myself laughing away as he raced into town carrying me. Every moment I spent with Issei was so magical, and I couldn't believe how lucky I was to be the girl enjoying herself by his side. The first place we went was a clothing store where I happily picked out various t-shirts for him. His face really brightened up when I found a dragon bracelet for him. I still remember all of the girls staring at me when Issei kissed me on the forehead and told me, "I love it, Rias. Thank you." I began to feel so relieved when I saw his smile this time. Issei was really having fun with me. I no longer saw that fake smile that he has been wearing for days now. After this, we went to various other stores and finished our shopping spree at the nearest arcade. We played loads of games such as air hockey, basketball, and arcade games which surprisingly became very competitive. After I returned to Issei with drinks, Issei introduced me to an unknown guest. "What's this?" I said as I questioned him about the cute little friend he had in his hands. "I won it for you on the crane machine. I figured you may like it," Issei said to me as he handed me the stuffed animal. It was a teddy bear with devil horns and a spiked tail. "It's so cute. Thank you, Issei," I said as I kissed him on the cheek and began to hug my new friend. After we exited the arcade, Issei and I went to a restaurant to get something to eat. And as the sun began to set, our date began to reach its end. "Wow, it's so beautiful," I said as I gazed from the view Issei took me to. This was my family's favorite spot after we finished playing at the festival. We would always watch the fireworks from here, Issei said, making me notice his eyes begin to tear up. "Issei. It's okay," I said, but Issei wiped his eyes and displayed his fake smile again. This meant that Issei was locking away his emotions because he didn't want to upset me. "Sorry, it's nothing. I'm going to get us some drinks, I'll be right back." Issei left straight away, running towards the vending machines we passed on the way here. I let out a sigh as I lay on the grass and began to worry about my Issei. I wish he would open up to me. I want to help Issei smile again. "Oh girl, are you alone right now?" a voice said, making me sit up and notice the group of strangers who came close to me whilst I was lost in thought. "What's this, she's crying. What's the matter, did your boyfriend dump you?" the second male said, showing his desires clearly through his words. "Don't worry about that, come play with us. We just got paid so we can have a lot of fun," the third said to me. His expression and his aura suggested to me he was the ringleader. "No thank you, I have no desire to go anywhere with you people. I'm waiting for someone," I said, hoping this would display my message. "Don't be so stingy, we just want to help a crying girl forget the jerk who dumped her," the ringleader said. I couldn't but be greatly angered when he referred to my Issei in that way. Before I knew it, I was standing up and struggling to hold back my anger. "Why are you glaring at us like that?" the man in the grey top said. "You think you people are anything like the man I love? Ridiculous. You're not even a 1/5 of my Issei. What was that, you bitch? I don't like your attitude. Come with me," the ringleader said as he didn't hesitate to grab my arm and try to pull me away. "Let me go this instant," I said as I held back my rage by the smallest wall I could. "It's time to teach you some respect," the man said as he prepared to strike me. "I won't have a choice, I may have to use my power to send them away. Hey punk, I'm going to say this once so pay attention. Take your hands off Rias this instant," Issei said as he crushed the 2 cans in his hand with ease. "Oh, what's your problem, punk, you want things to get ugly," the ringleader said as he went over to Issei and grabbed him by his jacket collar. "You don't want to do that," Issei said as the ringleader continued to get in his face. "Oh, you think you're tough, punk, what right do you have to pick a fight, huh?" Issei effortlessly removed the thug's hand from his person and then grabbed the threatening man's hand and crushed his feeble grip with his superior strength. "And what right do you have raising a hand to my woman?" Issei said as he began to increase his strength on his suffering hand. "Hey, let go of him, punk," the other two said as they rushed to the rescue only to stop in their tracks and break out in a sweat. "I'd advise you to take your friend and get out of my sight before you make me mad," Issei said after he released the thug and began to display his frightening and powerful dragon bloodlust aura. "We're so sorry," they said as they rushed off into the distance with their tails between their legs. Bastards. Issei said as he came over to comfort me. Thank you, Issei. As expected of my Issei. I said as we sat down together and I hugged his arm again. Issei's face was emotionless. His mask was back on again. And I wasn't going to let it stay on my Issei's face anymore. I didn't hesitate as I made my next move. I made him look at me and as he began to question what was wrong, I wrapped my hands around his neck and connected my lips with his. Rias. He said as I pulled him close to me after we disconnected. Issei, you don't have to keep your emotions bottled up when you're with me. I listen to anything you have to say. So please don't act happy when I know you're hurting so much inside. I said and Issei in response hugged me tight. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Rias. It's just so painful. I saw my parents after so long and I was so scared that they really would turn me away and see me as a monster. But when my parents happily accepted me for who I am, I felt so happy. And I wanted to talk to you about the feelings I was going through. But I couldn't because when I open up, it's so hard to pull myself together again. Issei said as his tears dampened my chest. It's okay, I'm here for you, Issei. You don't have to act strong all of the time. When you feel sad or lonely, just say so and I will reassure you how much you are loved by everyone, Issei. I love you more than anything so you don't need to hold back. Your Rias is here to make the pain go away. I said as I began to tear up and hug him tight. It feels like such a heavy weight is lifted off my shoulders. Thank you, Rias. I really feel like I can leave my pathetic self to you. Issei said as he let out all the bottled up emotions that he had held in for the past few days. After Issei pulled himself together, we sat side by side on the grass with our hands intertwined. I had a lot of fun today, Issei. Thank you so much, I'll treasure this day. I said as I leaned on his muscular shoulder. Me too, Rias. I'm so glad you're mine, Rias. Kind of ironic though. I'm supposed to be your servant after all. Issei said, making me pout. I don't care about silly things like that, Issei. I love you with all of my heart. And I don't care what anybody else says about our relationship. I said as I squeezed his arm tight. Same here, Rias, Issei said as he stroked my hair. All of a sudden, my phone began to sound off, ruining our perfect moment. In an irritated fashion, I removed my phone from my purse and checked my email. What's wrong, Rias? Issei asked me as I gazed at the message with a serious look. Akeno is going to need your help more than anything, Issei. So he's coming to the human world, is he? Yes. Brachial Akeno's father is coming to visit the human world with Auden this week. I said as I ended my thoughts on my perfect day and instead changed my attention to my best friend who was going to experience cruel times this week. It was then I felt a warm sensation on my lips. I felt Issei's comfort as he relaxed my tension with a loving and warm kiss. Don't worry, Rias, I will see to it that Akeno doesn't lose her smile. You can count on me. Issei said, making all of my worries wash away. Because I knew that with Issei's words alone, that was enough to calm my nerves. I trust my Issei more than anything. And I knew at that moment when he said those words to me, everything was going to be fine. And Akeno would not return to how she once was before. Chapter 43, The Dark Wings which ensnare her heart. So these are all the papers I have to sign? Issei inquired as he handed the pen back to the red-haired demon lord as he sat at his desk. Yes, thank you, Issei-kun. With your signature, we can now commence Project Crimson Dragon, the TV show for all the little devils. Surzicha said, making Issei sigh. I still can't believe you managed to convince me to go through with this. But it's for the children, so I guess I will let one of your crazy schemes slip by this time. Issei said, sitting down opposite Surzicha's. So has your present for Rias been finished yet? Surzicha's asked with a grin on his face. Yes, it took a while, but I finished it just before I came to see you. Issei replied as he patted his shirt pocket. I bet Rias will be pleased. But I have your information you asked for. Surzicha said, turning serious all of a sudden. When is he arriving? Issei asked as he listened to every word Surzicha's had to offer. Brachial and Auden are said to be arriving in the human world at approximately 2 p.m. today. Surzicha said, making Issei look a bit worried. I see, then if I am to keep my promise to Rias, I will have to act today before he arrives. Thank you for the info, Surzicha, then I will be going. Issei said as he left his chair and headed for the door. Wait, Issei-kun, I have something else to inform you about. Surzicha said, making Issei turn around. What is it? Issei replied, feeling obligated to listen to what the all-powerful demon had to say. You see, another high-class demon exam is occurring soon and I was thinking, Surzicha said, being instantly interrupted by Issei. Surzicha, I told you before, I'm in no rush to make my rank public, let alone increase it higher. Issei said with a gloomy expression. But Issei-kun, I can't stand seeing you ridiculed and cursed because everybody believes you to be a low-class rookie as opposed to your true rank. Surzicha said, making Issei put his hand on the door. I learned all of that knowledge to not waste this new life by getting myself killed the instant I tried to venture out into the world of the demons. But everything is different now, I'm happy being her pawn. Issei said, now holding back tears. I'm sorry Issei-kun, I just spouted it without thinking. Please forgive me. Surzicha said to the Red Dragon Emperor as he pulled himself together. It's okay, I have to be going now. Please excuse me. Issei said as he exited out of the Demon Lord's office via magic circle. Issei Haidu straightened himself up and wiped away his tears as he arrived back home. The brown-haired devil was just about to open the front door when all of a sudden, an energetic red-haired girl he knew all too well pounced on him as he attempted to go inside. Good morning Rias. Issei said, now startled by Rias' surprise attack. You're real mean leaving me to wake up alone like that Issei. Where have you been? Rias said, pouting as Issei smiled at her outburst of silly behavior. Issei began to laugh and a warm feeling began to surface inside his chest, telling him this is where he belonged. Hey, don't laugh at me. Humph. You're the worst, leaving without saying a word to your master. You've made me mad, so I'm ignoring you for the rest of the day. Rias said as she turned away from Issei and folded her arms. Issei smiled and wrapped his arms around her. I'm sorry, I had to sign the contracts for your brother. And besides, I had to pick something up for you. Issei said as he placed the small box in her hand. Rias turned her attention away from Issei and instead focused on the small box he just gave to her. Ria's mood took a complete reverse when she suddenly screamed and jumped into Issei's arms when she put two and two together. Thank you Issei. I love you so much. Rias said, planting kisses on every visible part of his face. Do you want me to put it on for you? Issei said as picked up the mysterious item from the box it was concealed in. Rias nodded with tears streaming down her eyes and held out her hand. Issei smiled and slipped the ring on Ria's third finger on her left hand. Rias stared in awe at the magnificent craftsmanship of Issei's secret project. Issei's secret engagement ring for Rias was a solid gold ring with a crimson dragon guarding a huge ruby stone. It had the date of the proposal and their names inscribed along the side and the date that they both met on the other side. It's so beautiful. Thank you Issei. I can't believe you made this yourself. Rias said as she giggled whilst staring at the ring, realizing the symbolism behind it. Thanks, it wasn't easy, it took me quite a while, but it looks like it was worth it. Issei said when suddenly Rias pounced on him and kissed him deeply and passionately on the lips. As expected of the man I chose to marry. Rias said as they both stood up. Issei smiled and then decided to change the subject to something else he was tasked to do. How's Akeno-san feeling? Issei asked, making Ria's happy mood shift to a more worrisome one. She's been having nightmares lately and with Barakiel soon to be arriving, she's pretty afraid. Rias said, suddenly being startled when Issei pulled her in close. Don't worry, I have a plan. But you're going to have to trust me, okay? Issei said, making Rias blush but nod. Okay, I'm not going to give up until Akeno-san is smiling today. So please just wait for me, okay? Issei said, making Rias ponder his request, but inevitably she agreed to believe in him. Issei kissed his beloved fiancée on the forehead and made his way towards the kitchen. There he saw Akeno washing a kitchen knife in the sink. Issei tapped on her shoulder and found himself with a blade inches away from his eye, but he made no attempts to dodge, he just let it stop before making impact. Akeno looked towards Issei with enraged and bloodthirsty eyes. Which quickly shifted back to her normal gentle self. Oh Issei-kun, I'm so sorry. Akeno said as she quickly took the blade away from his face and put it in the sink. The distressed hybrid devil looked down at her hands in disbelief of what she almost did. Good morning Akeno-san. Issei kindly replied to her, showing he wasn't upset with her in the slightest. Akeno held her own hand to attempt to stop the pair of them shaking and looked down towards the floor. I'm sorry Issei-kun, breakfast is running a bit late today, so please wait a little longer. Akeno said as began to turn her back towards him again. Just as Akeno was about to resume her preparations for breakfast, she realized that her hands ceased their shaking. And the cold and numb feeling that was once there had been replaced a warm and gentle touch instead. Issei-kun. Akeno said as she now stared at him with a blush as he held her hand. Good timing, I was hoping you hadn't have eaten yet. Let's go out on a date and take a break today, okay? Issei said with a warm and convincing smile. A date, Akeno said, suddenly taken by surprise with Issei's proclamation. Yeah, that's right. Just the two of us. I've noticed you haven't been your cheery self lately, so I'm making it my mission today to make you smile and forget all of your worries. Issei said, making Akeno panic. But I still have the housework today, after all it's my turn today. Akeno said as she, despite not wanting to, tried to release herself from Issei's grasp. Don't worry about that Akeno, Kiba has already offered to take over so you can relax. Right Kiba? Issei said to the knight who now entered the room. Of course, leave it to me. Kiba said as he now cleared the second stage to help Issei with Akeno's worries. Well, if you really want to take me out, then how can I possibly say no? I'll go get ready. Akeno said as she for the first time in a while had a spring in her steps as she rushed to her room. Thanks Kiba, I owe you one. Issei said to Kiba as he began to get the tools necessary to make breakfast. No Issei-kun, it is I who owes you. Please focus your attention on the vice president today. Help her like you have helped all of us in the past. Kiba replied, making Issei smile. Then I won't disappoint you Kiba. Issei said as he headed off to tell Rias his plan and then quickly made his way to the front door after doing so. Shall we go then Akeno? Issei said, making Akeno blush. Akeno? She replied, lost for words. What's wrong Akeno? You asked me to call you without honorifics when it was just the two of us. Issei said, now taking her hand. But shouldn't we tell Rias where we are going? Akeno replied, feeling very nervous and vulnerable right now. Don't worry, I spoke to her before we left. Issei replied. Was she okay with it? Akeno asked, making Issei smile. Well, I guess okay is one way of putting it. Flashback, a date. Why are you taking Akeno on a date? Even when you have me? Rias said in a very startled and upset tone. Issei grinned and pulled her into his chest. It's not what you think, okay? You asked me to help Akeno cheer up. So first I have to make her feel safe so she can tell me what's wrong. Issei said, making Rias hide her face in his chest. But Issei is my Issei. I don't want to share. Rias mumbled as she put her arms around his back. Issei smiled again and tilted her chin up towards him, and without a moment's hesitation, he kissed her on the lips and made all of her worries and doubt for him disappear. You have nothing to worry about, by your side is the only place I truly belong. Issei said as he looked deep into her eyes, which were now as calm as the ocean. Rias simply replied with a simple okay when she suddenly hugged him again. End of flashback. Well then, if Rias has given the okay, I guess there is nothing holding me back anymore. Let's go have some fun. Akeno said, now taking the initiative. Meanwhile, back at the Haidu residence. Rias is happily humming whilst she is organizing her paperwork in the living room. Good morning Rias. Asia said as she entered the room. Good morning to you too Asia. Rias said in a cheery tone. You seem pretty happy this morning. Asia replied with a smile. Well, I will show you why I am feeling so energetic today. Behold. Rias said as she happily showed off her new and customized engagement ring. Wow. It's so pretty President Rias. Asia said as she joined Rias with admiring its quality and charm. There you go again calling me President Rias. I already told you that I see you as my little sister. So your big sis would be very sad if you didn't drop the formalities with her. I understand. Big sis Rias. Asia said in a very shy manner. That's much better. Rias said, surprising her with a hug. By the way Rias, where is Issei-san? Asia asked as she poured herself some tea. Oh, Issei has gone out for a bit with Akeno. Rias replied, normally deciding to believe in Issei. You mean a date? Asia asked, now panicking. What's wrong Asia? Rias replied, you let Akeno go out with Issei alone without following them. What if Akeno decides to take him for herself in your absence? Asia proclaimed, now making Rias worry too. You're right. Let's go Asia. Rias said, now creating a makeshift disguise. We're going with you. Kaneko said, who was standing next to Zenobia and a paper bag equipped Gasper. How did the both of you change so fast? Rias asked, now staring at Kaneko, who seemed to be wearing a tiger wrestling mask. Is this really the time to be asking that? Come on, we have to go before Issei-senpai is devoured by Akeno. Kaneko said, now leaving the house with the timid vampire in tow. And just like that, the rest of the girls chased after Issei, now undergoing their secret espionage mission. Meanwhile, everything seemed to be going very well with Issei and Akeno on their date. They visited various shops including the arcade. They had both breakfast and lunch together. And Akeno was smiling so much that her cheeks were beginning to hurt a bit. But she did not care in the slightest. The date was in high gear and nothing seemed to be upsetting Akeno in the slightest. Well, that is until an uninvited guest came crashing in and ruining the mood. What are you doing here? Akeno said with malice in her words as she clung to Issei's arm. I am here as Lord Auden's bodyguard. And I will throw that question right back at you. What are you doing out here alone with that filthy security? Barakiel said, making Akeno cross. What did you just say? Akeno said, now clinging onto Issei tighter. You heard me. He's a filthy low-class devil who has so many girls flocking around him. He's a dirty bastard who does not deserve you. Barakiel said, now beginning to get closer to her. How dare you say that about Issei-kun? Akeno said, now shouting at the fallen angel. Enough Akeno. Stop this foolish behavior at once. Let go of that man and come with me right now. Barakiel said, now grabbing her arm. No. I don't want to let go of Issei-kun. Suddenly, the tension began to simmer down when Barakiel felt a strong force on his arm. Let go of her Barakiel. Issei said with a serious glare. You filthy security, know your place. Barakiel said, now aiming a punch towards Issei's face. Issei made no efforts to dodge. Instead he calmly stopped Barakiel's fist dead in its tracks. You damn security. You think a pathetic low class like you is fit to be by my daughter's side, or is it that you're still the same as ever and you're out to kill her? Barakiel said, now beginning to enrage the girls who secretly lay in wait in a nearby bush. Issei sighed and then smiled. I'm always having that label thrown at me. You're just a low-class devil. And to be honest, I was fine with being called that. I didn't care about my rank or my status. As long as I could stay with everyone, I didn't care. But if you're so interested in learning the truth, then pay attention. I will tell you how I really rank, but only once. I don't like to use my status for power or respect, so pay attention. Issei said, now making Barakiel startled. What are you talking about, Issei-kun? Akeno said as she and the rest of the girls obeyed Issei and listened carefully to what he had to say. I wasn't trying to keep it secret. I just didn't care if people thought I was a low-class devil, that's all. As long as I could live happily with everyone. With Akeno, Zenobia, Asia, Kaneko-chan, Kiba and Rias. I didn't care what others thought of me. I just wanted to protect everyone. But if it's for the sake of you leaving Akeno to me, I will tell you my true title, so you can be assured I won't let anyone else who Akeno cares about die. I will protect her. So listen up, Barakiel. I am in fact a devil who is a top middle class. What? But that's not all, I have within me the knowledge and the means to become a high-class devil without there being even a slim chance I would fail. Issei said, surprising everybody there except Lord Auden, who just grinned. Barakiel, let's go. Lord Auden. Those girls aren't going to enjoy themselves without my company. So come on to the booby bar. Lord Auden said, making sure that Barakiel followed him away from the tenacious dragon who would not have dared to back down. Akeno, are you okay? Issei asked the girl who was currently shaking. I'll be okay. But can we go somewhere more private? Akeno said as she pointed to the building next to them. It was at that moment Issei realized where they were. Issei at first panicked when he realized that Akeno was suggesting they enter the Love Hotel next to them, but Issei decided to take her hand and take her inside. Feeling it would be the best place for her to calm down. In the hotel. I'll go take a shower first. Akeno, you just try to relax and I will be done soon. Issei said as he left the room to begin his cleansing. Issei stood under the steaming water with his eyes closed as he dwelled in thought. What do I do? How can I save Akeno? Issei thought to himself, unaware of the intruder about to strike him from behind. All of a sudden, Issei felt a soft sensation press up against his back. Akeno, Issei said when he realized that the crafty devil had stripped down and snuck in the shower with him. Hey Issei-kun, will you help me forget everything? Akeno said as she began to trace her hands all down his body. Akeno, what are you doing? Issei said as Akeno willingly began to caress every part of his body. Her hand eventually tracing down his abdomen. No, this won't save her. Issei thought to himself as Akeno selfishly explored every crevice of his body. Akeno, this isn't right. Please, we have to stop. Issei said, now upsetting Akeno. Why? Am I not pretty? Do you think that these wings make me ugly like that man, like Rainer? Akeno said, making Issei realize how damaged Akeno was right now. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. Issei said as he couldn't help but hug her. I don't want to be alone anymore. Akeno said with tears in her eyes. Akeno couldn't hold herself back anymore, and with Issei distracted, she daringly pounced on Issei and combined her lips with his. Issei suddenly faded out of his dilemma, smashing down the wall which prevented him from coming up with a plan to save Akeno. I created this technique to help Rias when she had something troubling inside herself. But it looks like I will have to test it out on Akeno first. Issei thought to himself as begun his plan. Issei closed his eyes and began to concentrate his magic power, sharing a portion of it whilst Akeno was connected to him. Dragon perception, all of a sudden, memories of Akeno's childhood began to rush into Akeno's and Issei's mind. Flashback, hey mummy, do you think daddy loves me? Little Akeno said whilst she sat on her mother's lap. Yes, Akeno. Your daddy loves you very much. Shuri replied with a warm smile. Yay, then when papa comes home, I want to play with him all day long. Little Akeno said with a bright smile. Second flashback, wow papa, your wings are so big. Akeno said as she washed her father's black colossal wings. Is that so? Thank you, Akeno. But don't you think they are scary? Barakiel asked as she continued to wash them. Not one bit. Papa's wings are beautiful. They sparkle in the water. Akeno said with a happy smile as she embraced him lovingly. Final flashback, why weren't you here, Dad? Why didn't you protect Mummy? Akeno, they said it's because she fell in love with a fallen angel. This is all your fault, Dad. I hate fallen angels. I hate you. Akeno said as she wallowed in despair. Flashback over, Akeno opened her eyes and saw Issei staring at her so willingly, as if he could see through her inside and out. Issei-kun. Akeno said as Issei pulled her into another hug. You really love your father, don't you, Akeno? Issei-kun, don't tell me. Yes, I saw your memories and your past. It was such a tragedy what happened to your mother, Akeno. You've been scarred by her death to the point where you claimed you wanted to be left alone. But in reality, you were scared, weren't you? You needed somebody to hold you like this and tell you everything would be okay. Issei said, still continuing to embrace her. Issei-kun. Akeno said as she began to cry on his shoulder. Akeno, you can't continue to live in the past. I know it's painful, but your father is still alive and he loves you. I know it won't be easy, but I will be here alongside you to help you through it all. You have family that care about you, Akeno, and you need to make your mother smile again. Issei said, making Akeno break down. Issei said no more. Instead, he just held her and let Akeno be the frightened and vulnerable teenage girl she continuously suppressed inside herself. I promise to protect you and our friends, so you will never experience a tragedy and painful memory ever again. Issei said as he let her cry her heart out. Chapter 44, 1 year with the Grimoires. Issei's anniversary surprise. Rias POV, but that's not all, I have within me the knowledge and the means to become a high-class devil, without there being even a slim chance I would fail. Those words are still running through my head as I stared at the relaxed and at peace expression on Issei's face as he slept next to me. Issei could become a high-class devil, wait, does that mean Issei will leave me soon? Does this mean that others will try to steal him away from me? Now his rank has gone public in the underworld. Normal POV, these constant worries kept flowing through Ria's mind as she ever so carefully slipped her way out of Issei's warm embrace, as much as it pained her to do so. The king of the Grimoires shook her head back and forth, realizing that she had no time to be worrying such thoughts right now. After all, today was a very important day for both her and Issei. Rias still couldn't comprehend how it had already been a year since Issei became her pawn and joined her family. With all the events and sudden death battles becoming a constant occurrence for the Grimoire household throughout the year, Rias found it rather difficult to keep track of the days that seemed to fly by when she spent them with her chosen love. Rias suddenly felt cold even after she proceeded to get dressed, this being the consequence of her leaving Issei's side far too early. Rias pouted as she got dressed and left a note by Issei's pillow. Trying her best to hold herself back from stripping off and climbing back in bed with him. But she managed to hold herself back, doing such a setback. She had work to do today. The ruined princess trod ever so quietly out of Issei and her shared bedroom on the account of Issei's very sensitive, powerful hearing senses would pick up the minute she uttered a word. With her escape out of the room successful, Rias made her way downstairs where the rest of the peerage stood in the passage by the doorway dressed in formal attire. Are all the preparations complete, big sister Rias? Asia asked as Rias met up with the rest of the group. Asia Argento was wearing a turquoise dress which reached to her barely visible ankles and her matching colored high heels. The former sister also wore golden earrings, feeling the need to wear some other form of jewelry as opposed to the cross necklace which she was forced to leave in her room. Yes, I managed to leave the note by Issei without waking him. All steps have been completed. So now we can move on to phase 2 of Issei's surprise event. Rias said as she put her hair up into a ponytail. Rias Grimoire was wearing a crimson dress with a gold necklace hanging from her neck and of course, her newly crafted dragon engagement ring still on her finger. Is he still sleeping? Then maybe I'll go give him a kiss while his guard is down. And maybe after that, Akeno said with reddened cheeks and her S-mode expression showing. Akeno was wearing an outfit true to her Japanese self, as opposed to the rest of the girls who were wearing dresses. Akeno decided to wear a black kimono instead. Her hair, like Rias Grimoire's, was placed in a ponytail. No way. I was holding myself back with everything I could to not give Issei a kiss or even a hug. If I'm deprived of his warmth first thing in the morning, then so is everyone else. Rias strongly proclaimed with matching reddening cheeks. It will be fine, right? Just a little kiss. Akeno said, making Rias get frustrated. No means no. Akeno, you idiot. Rias said, sticking her tongue out at her. Well, now seems like a good opportunity for me to get Issei's seed. Zenobia said before she was stopped by a huge, truly marking this occasion as a very important and well-dressed one. Cut it out, Zenobia. They both said, making Kiba, Asia, Gasper and Kaneko laugh. What's that noise? Everyone, you're already awake. Issei called from his room, making Rias panic. Not good. Everyone into the magic circle, hurry. Rias said in a much quieter voice and teleported all of her servants, leaving Issei behind to wonder if what he heard was in fact his imagination. Or if he was too late to greet them. I guess nobody is there after all. I can't sense anybody in the house. What's this? Issei said as he twisted his body to read the note left by Rias on his pillow. Dear my precious and treasured pawn, my brother has asked us all to report to the underworld for a sudden meeting. The dress code is formal, so please wear your finest suit. We have gone ahead so you could get some rest from all the hard work you have done. P.S. I love you so much, my precious Issei. XXXXXXXXXXXXXXX. After reading the note from his beautiful and beloved fiancée, Issei folded the note with a smile and placed it in a drawer he secretly kept for the sole purpose of placing his most treasured memories with Rias and the rest of the gang. Issei decided to get ready and head straight to the underworld. Rushing towards the bathroom with his suit in hand at such a fast pace that he failed to see what day he had marked on the calendar. Issei, as per Surzich's previous instructions, activated his balance brake and transported to the town center of the Gremory's family territory, feeling this would be the most fitting way to arrive as opposed to just teleporting into the room without any notice. "Hey look, there he is. It's the Crimson Dragon. Our hero." The kids all cried out as Issei walked through the town center. Issei felt due to his responsibility as the protector and fighter for the Devil Children, delayed his journey towards the Gremory castle. This being because he took the time to greet them all personally, doing such things as taking photos, signing autographs and simple high fives to the young aspiring devils. Issei realized that he was beginning to run later than he had intended and as a result gave the kids a sight to behold when he took off to the sky and flew to the Gremory castle with his dragon wings. Issei rushed towards the castle entrance literally the second his feet touched the ground once again. Issei felt knocking on the door was not a task he could afford to waste doing, feeling this meeting was of matter urgency. "I apologize for my tardiness, Lord Surzich's. What is the huge emergency?" Issei said, his question immediately being answered by party poppers and streamers banners hanging from the ceiling which read, "Happy 1-year anniversary with the Gremory household Hayato Issei." Issei looked from side to side, finding his comrades were in fact at this current location, like they previously stated they would be. However, they were not sat around a huge table in a meeting as Issei assumed they would be. Nope, they were all clapping and smiling towards Issei the minute he rushed through the doors of the castle. "Hey, what's going on?" Issei said as he deactivated his scale mail armor, and he was then suddenly grabbed by the arms by Akeno and Rias, who led him to a golden throne for him to sit in. "Silly Issei, can't you tell just by looking? It's your 1-year anniversary with the Gremory household," Akeno said, dropping the honorifics due to her feeling of being on equal footing with Rias now. "That's right, Issei, you've been working so hard lately that it must have slipped your mind, but today you can party and leave all of the work to us," Rias said as she gave her most precious pawn a hug. Rias and Akeno returned to the rest of the Gremorys, who all toasted Issei on his anniversary. "Cheers." They all yelled as they all stood in front of Issei. They all laughed and ate until their bellies could not contain any more of the finest cuisine. Issei was given an extra special portion of his favorite meals to help suffice his dragon appetite. After everyone had finished feasting, Issei was in for a surprise he had not predicted at all. One by one, each member of the Gremory household were going to take it in turns to say a few words to their friend lover Issei. The first to step up to the podium was none other than the blonde knight Kiba. "I want to start by saying thank you so much for all the times you have helped me when I was stuck in a bind, Issei-kun. After our battle against that guy's sacred gear and the memory manipulating powers of it, I thought I would never be able to wield a sword proudly ever again. But thanks to you, I was able to become stronger. And I promise now, as the knight of the Gremory household, I will always have your back and I will never let you down again," Kiba said, finishing his speech off with a sincere bow. Kiba approached Issei and received a fellow comrade's hug and a spirited handshake to mark the bond and powerful friendship between the pair. Next to speak up was the former sister Asia Argento. "When I first came to Japan, I was in a lot of trouble. I was a prisoner of Rainer and I was in even more danger when Father Fried was granted with my primary care. My first encounter with you, Issei, was definitely heart-pumping, you could say. Issei-san, the first words you said to me help gave me strength and I could see the light in the dark and damp alleyway. You said I had nothing to worry about and that you would protect me. And even though it was my first time meeting you, I couldn't have believed in someone even if I had met 1,000 different people in the world. You are the reason I became a devil. You saved my life, so I will work my hardest to save you in return for all you have done for me, Issei-san," Asia said with tears streaming down her cheeks as Issei went to her and gave her a warm hug to help her control her overflowing emotions. "It's okay, Asia, I'm not going anywhere," Issei said, making Rias grab her heart in high hopes that this was in fact true. His previous words still plaguing her mind. Gasper, throwing his paper bag off of his head, marched up to the podium, feeling the sudden strength to get up there. "Issei-senpai. I have always looked up to you since the moment I saw your battle with Razor. And not just then, you're always facing the enemy in front of you and becoming stronger by defying the impossible. I promise you, as a bishop. No, as a man. To become stronger as well," Gasper said. Issei gave him a hug as he joined him up there and then pat him on the back. "I know you can do it, Gasper," Issei said, making the vampire devil smile as he walked off the stage. The sapphire-haired knight Zenobia stepped up next. "Issei, when we were enemies and even after I upset Asia in front of you, you came to me in arena and gave us food. Not because you wished for anything in return, you simply did it because you are a good person who cares for others. You even helped us take down Kakabiel when you deemed it too dangerous for us to do alone. I can confidently say that if it weren't for your kindness and your power, that I would most definitely would be dead right now. Which is why I now swear on my sword as a knight that I will protect you and always follow your will. Zenobia said, also happily accepting a hug from Issei. I will obtain your seed for my future dragon devil children. Zenobia whispered to him as she bit his ear and left the stage to be with the others. Issei smiled awkwardly and then reverted his attention to Akeno, Kaneko and Rias, who awaited their turn. The nervous white cat Rook marched on ahead and said what was currently on her mind. Issei-senpai, if it wasn't for you, I would still be weak. I was always scared to use my power as a Nekomata because I was afraid it would change me and make me turn out just like my big sister. But for you, I can confidently use this power and fight alongside you wherever you may go. Kaneko said, even with her normally cold attitude, happily accepted Issei's embrace and pat on her head. I'm counting on you to back me up when my back's against the wall, okay? Issei said, to which Kaneko responded with a nod and a meow. Rias was struck with sudden stage fright and so Akeno went ahead first. Issei, ever since I became a devil, I had always planned to throw away my identity as a fallen angel and refused to use the power for I was scared to use it. It was because of my mother's family's hatred for fallen angels that she was murdered and me almost along with her. But if you're by my side, I really feel that I can become stronger and fully master this power and as a result, fully trust in myself and those who wish to help me. Akeno said as she rushed into the Red Dragon Emperor's arms. Rias burned away her cold feet and pushed on ahead. Issei, for as long as I could remember, I have always wanted to meet the man of my dreams and to fall in love with him. However, no man I have encountered even had the ability to make my heart skip a beat. That is until I met you, Issei. You stole my heart from the minute you took down that petty thief without a moment's hesitation. I had always wondered when I was a little girl who my brother rescued and was keeping so secretly within his chambers, and I am so glad that it was you my brother chose to be my one and only precious pawn. When you saved me from a terrible marriage with Razor Phoenix, I fell for you even more and I couldn't stand keeping my feelings from you any longer. I love you, Hayato Issei, and I am so proud to call you my future husband. Rias said as she embraced him the tightest and then in front of everyone, kissed him ever so passionately on the stage. I love you too, Rias. I will always stay by your side and become the mightiest pawn the world has ever seen. Issei said as he wrapped his arms around her. Rias' crimson hair tickled Issei's nose as she whispered into his ear. I will give you your special present later tonight. Look forward to it. Rias said as held onto his arm and led him to the middle of the room. The wooden doors once again opened and now Surziches and Grafia, along with Milikas, entered the room pushing a trolley with a Grimmery-style anniversary cake engagement cake. Well then, let's all toast to Issei. Rias said as she raised her glass. To Issei. They all cheered as a sudden roar of power began to shake the castle. All of a sudden, a huge gaping hole was forged within the castle walls, revealing the outside world. What the hell was that? Issei said as he suddenly got his answer as both he and Grafia looked on in both fear and anger. Euklid Lucifuge. Be big brother? Grafia said as she suddenly froze in fear. What have you come here for, Euklid? Don't tell me you dare to try attack my darling Issei, Rias said as she suddenly held him so tightly. I'm afraid not. Our target this time is you. Go. Kill Rias Gremory. Euklid shouted, causing a huge pack of you rogue devils to charge for Rias. Dragon shot. Issei shouted, blasting the devils to smithereens as he vaporized them in his balance breaker state. As expected of the Securite. Euklid said as Issei now aggressively stood in front of the ruined princess. Just try to lay a finger on Rias and I will annihilate you all. I won't let you harm one hair on her head. Issei said as his boosted gear began to boost his power. Everyone, proceed with the plan. Operation Crimson Extraction. Euklid said as the Grimories prepared for battle. Chapter 45, Euklid's Master Plan. I won't let you hurt my fiancé. As the glow of Issei's boosted gear shined brightly, the Red Dragon Emperor assessed his surroundings. Only to come to the conclusion that they were vastly outnumbered. Issei couldn't afford to let his guard down. Not with all the powerful opponents who suddenly made an appearance at what was previously a peaceful and joyful occasion. However, Issei had come to learn due to the darkness of his past that times of peace are almost instantly interrupted by a world of despair and disorder. Frightened young devils were covering their ears from the sound of the menacing roars which plagued the skies above. The obsidian wings vigorously flapped as the threatening army of dragons soared up high. Okay troops, you know the mission. Now go and slaughter everyone in sight. The Crime Force Dragon said as he made his appearance to the front line. His body now fully restored thanks to the effects of the Holy Grail. Charge. Take Rias Gremory down. Euklid yelled to his troops as they began to move out. I already told you, I won't let you hurt Rias. Dragon shot. Issei yelled, launching his powerful blast into the sky at the charging platoon. Issei's attack was completely intercepted by Euklid Lucifuge, who now stood in front of the Red Dragon Emperor with a boosted gear that looked much like his own. "I'm sorry Security, but I am your opponent," Euklid said as Issei gazed at his right arm. Euklid's boosted gear appeared on his right hand with a silver lining. "Impossible, is that my boosted gear?" Issei said as he carefully analyzed what appeared to be an exact recreation of his sacred gear. "That's correct, I have perfectly made a replica of one of the Longinus weapons. And that's not all, Hayato Issei. Dragon shot." Euklid yelled as he fired an almost exact copy of Issei's powerful signature move. Like Issei, Euklid gathered all of his magic energy in the palm of his hand and launched a powerful and dangerous blast towards the Red Dragon Emperor. However, unlike Issei's move, which was purely a powerful crimson red, Euklid's dragon shot blast was a mixture of silver and red. Issei took immediate action and placed his arms in a cross formation. Unfortunately, the blast made such an impact that even in his crimson cardinal promotion state, Issei was sent flying. "And even my signature move. Just what have you done, Euklid Lucifuge?" Issei said as he prepared to battle. "Whatever it takes to defeat you and take back my big sister Graphia. I've been so lonely without her by my side," Euklid said, making Issei boost his power. "Graphia isn't going anywhere," Issei said, making Euklid smirk. "Oh, and if you are fascinated by my perfect copy of your boosted gear so far, just wait until you see what I have in store for you next." "Balance break," Euklid yelled as a huge surge of demonic power exerted throughout the atmosphere. Once again, Issei stared in shock and awe as Euklid once again did the impossible that not even Azazel with his sacred gear creation abilities could accomplish. He was now standing in front of Issei like a mirror as he stared at Issei through the exact same crimson mask of Issei's scale mail. "Even my balance break," Issei replied after Euklid armored up. "Magnificent, isn't it? It's a shame, but if you want to save Rias' Gremory, you'll have to defeat me first," Euklid said as he instantly and effortlessly smashed through a piece of Issei's armor. "And I'm afraid it's not going to be easy," Euklid said as Issei dealt with the damage he had just been given. "Damn you, Euklid," Issei said as he charged Euklid without a moment's notice. The two red dragons' fists collided in the sky, and judging by the intensity from both fighters, there was no obvious outcome who was going to win this fight. Meanwhile, the rest of the Gremory household found themselves battling against the remaining forces, trying with all of their might to protect their president. "Everyone please be careful. We are vastly outnumbered and the enemy is very strong. Fight for our world, but also be sure to come back alive," Rias commanded as the Gremories formed a defensive line. "Yes, President," they all shouted as they began to dispatch the opposing forces. "Ara, it's not a good idea to attack Issei-kun and our president. Go lightning dragons." Akeno yelled, and within an instant, Akeno's holy lightning bolt suddenly took on a metamorphosis and transformed into 3 holy lightning-infused huge Asian dragons. The cries of pain and shocked enemy forces sounded out as more and more became victims of Akeno's ferocious lightning dragons. "You think those dragons will hurt me?" Grendel said as he began to charge towards Akeno. "I'm your opponent, Crime Force Dragon," Kiba said as he blocked the intimidating dragon's path. "Interesting. I haven't had the pleasure of tearing you limb from limb yet. Can you stand against my power?" Grendel yelled as he suddenly fired a huge ball of flames towards the blonde knight. Kiba smiled as he drew his newly acquired blade and sliced through Grendel's attack cleanly. "What impossible?" Grendel said as Kiba firmly gripped the heavy sword's handle. "As I thought, this is the perfect opportunity to test my new blade," Kiba said as he held the high-level demon sword tight within his hand. "You think your puny little sword is strong enough to cut through my heart in scales?" Grendel said as he attempted to squash Kiba under his huge and ferocious claws. However, in an instant, Kiba used his extreme speed to dodge Grendel's sudden attack and cleaved through a portion of Grendel's tail. "Actually, yes, I do. You see, there is nothing that the great demon sword Graham can't cut through," Kiba said as the dragon growled at the swordsman. "You bastard. I'll slaughter you." Grendel roared as the blood-shedding battle between knight and evil dragon commenced. All of a sudden, Rias' Gremory found herself immediately surrounded by various forces of the old Satan faction. "Rias!" Issei yelled as he attempted to rush towards her. "Not so fast, Hayato Issei, I told you, you have to beat me first," Euklid said as he once again with ease pushed Issei back. "Damn you, Euklid. You may have copied my power, but your resolve is nowhere near as powerful as mine," Issei said, causing all of his gems to light up. "Boost. Boost. 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 Issei with his enhanced power, smashed his fist straight into Euklid's replica helmet, revealing his silver hair once again. That's more like it, Security, but it will take a lot more than that to defeat me. Euklid said as his own sacred gear began to increase his power. Euklid struck Issei's armored exterior straight in the stomach and shattered a portion of its shell. After coughing out a portion of blood, Issei quickly repaired his armor and charged for his deadly foe once again. Issei collided with the fake Security once again, and as each punch was thrown out, to the red dragon's demise, Euklid was easily overpowering the believed to be unbeatable dragon. Come on, Red Dragon Emperor, surely you can see by now. You can't beat me. Euklid said after firing another dragon shot blast. Issei with a battle cry punched the dragon shot and managed to repel it back towards the arrogant demon. Euklid smirked and stopped Issei's punch with his extended palm. I told you, I'm stronger than you, Hayato Issei. Euklid said as he smashed Issei into the earth below. Crimson Dragon Cannon. Issei yelled, hitting Euklid with a direct hit. I must admit, I wasn't successful in perfecting that technique. Euklid said as Issei returned to the sky. That's because you can't fully copy the heart and soul I put in that attack. It's all for her. Issei said as he prepared another one. All for her? You mean Rias' Gremory? Euklid said with a smug expression. Absolutely. Issei yelled as he fired his blast again. It is certainly magnificent. However, it doesn't have enough power to beat me. Euklid said as he emerged from the smoke. Bastard. What are you planning to do to Rias? Issei said as he took off in a dash towards him. Euklid countered Issei's punches with his own and then dealt a colossal flying fist to Issei's helmet, shattering it into pieces. What are we planning? That's easy to answer. We are going to remove her from our threat list. Euklid said, making the now unmasked Issei kick him in the head. I won't let that happen. Issei yelled as Euklid now stared at him with no signs of pain imprinted on his face. I'm afraid it's already too late. Euklid said, making Issei's eyes shoot wide open and search for Rias. Rias. Issei yelled, now seeing his beloved surrounded. This is checkmate, Security. Fire now. Upon Euklid's orders, a powerful and blinding emerald laser blasted through the crowds and made direct impact with Rias' Gremory's chest. Upon impact, Rias' eyes became lifeless and the ruined princess suddenly hit the ground face first. Rias. Damn you, Euklid. You coward. Issei shouted as he blasted Euklid with his bishop blaster and then dropped like a missile into the crowd of old Satan faction lackeys. There is the Security, kill him. One yelled as they donned their sacred gears. Piss off, you bastards. I have no time for you. Issei yelled at the top of his lungs as all who decided to get in his way were turned to ashes. As Issei quickly approached the collapsed Rias' Gremory, Surzich's Lucifer and Asia were already there by her side. The Red Dragon Emperor dropped from the sky so hard, his landing was far from perfect and as a result, he found himself sliding through the dirt as he rushed towards her. Hey Rias, hang in there. Hey, answer me. Surzich's, what have they done to Rias? Issei said in a panicked state as he struggled to sense Rias' Gremory's demonic energy. I think I can answer that the best. A voice said as they teleported to the battlefield. Ajuka Beelzebub, please help Rias. Issei said as the demon approached them. Calm down, my boy. I'm going to assess her now. Ajuka said as he knelt down to assess Rias' health. It's not looking good. Ajuka said with a gloomy expression. What do you mean? What's wrong with my little sister? Surzicha said, trying his best not to lose his temper. She has had her evil piece's powers stolen and not only that, her demonic power is fading fast. Ajuka said, making Issei's fists bleed. There must be some way to save her. What can I do? I'll give my own life if I have to. Issei said, showing his clear dedication to the girl he loves. Is there a way to restore her king piece's power? If we can reverse that device then maybe, Surzicha said, being immediately interrupted by Ajuka. That's impossible, I'm afraid. The only way to save Rias' Gremory right now is for a king to make her part of their peerage with this special mutation queen piece I have created. Ajuka said as he revealed the evil piece from his pocket. I'll take her under my wing. A familiar voice said, making all of them turn around. Razor, Issei said with both irritation and surprise in his tone. I will make Rias my new queen and save her from dying. Razor said with a smug look. No fucking way. I already saved Rias from you once, Razor. And I'm not seeing that look on her face ever again. Issei yelled to the grinning Razor. But she's dying, Hayato Issei. Aren't you being a little selfish right now? Razor said, making Issei even more pissed. Don't fuck with me. You just want to make Rias your queen so you can do shameful things to her against her will. Issei yelled, now preparing to attack. Well, isn't that to be expected? I mean, I need some sort of compensation for saving her. Isn't that right, Lord Surzich's? Razor said, making Surzich's suddenly go pale in the face. Well, what will it be, Security? Rias' freedom? Or her life? Razor said, making Issei make an expression of an animal which was about to tear off the head of its prey. This is the end of the video. If you enjoyed the story, then hit the like button and comment your favorite part, but for now see you all in the next video.